restaurants and retail stores. We have the two other commissioners on, Shakaiba Bennett's on, and Jim McLaughlin's on. Also, John DeFederico's on, Tucker Murphy's on, I see Tiger, the Chief is on, and a number of other participants. So Tucker, if you would mind, if you could just lead off, because you were tasked with developing a plan with your team of, I don't know how many volunteers over the last couple of weeks to put together a plan to help approval to start opening restaurants for sidewalk services in the state starting on the 20th. So you have the floor.
Yep, sure. So yes, myself, Tiger with Maria, John DeFederico, we had Jen Eielson from Health, Kevin. We all were working hard when we learned that last Friday that the governor is allowing for phase 1 of the reopening of the downtown. The first thing that I think is important just for everybody's clarification is this is an open at your own pace. No one is being required to open. This is a completely voluntary open. Although there were some orders that did come out last night about a self-certification that every business is going to have to comply with before they open. But I just wanted to set the stage, and then I'm going to let Tiger and any of the others that worked on it with us, weigh in and take you through the plan. Hopefully everybody has seen the plan. We did send it out to everybody so that we could get any input, and I've received some input, and I'm sure you all have too. Yep. So this is a plan to just gradually reopen downtown, which includes the non-essential businesses that have been completely closed.
Yeah, John, if you could put the plan up.
Okay. You want to go to the plan right now, or you just want me to do the background?
Yeah, we're going to put the map up now.
Okay. So
we'll put the plan up, but talk us through the background.
Yeah. So the background is that, again, these are non-essential businesses that have been closed since mid-March, as well as the restaurants that have been, as you all know, working really, really hard at making takeout available and that kind of thing. This plan allows for the downtown restaurants to expand what they've been doing with takeout to include some outdoor dining. This is not intended to replicate pre-COVID dining options, right? But it does move us the next step forward, if you will, to bringing hiring back some front staff, allowing the restaurants to start opening. It's just a next step forward. I'm going to just emphasize, and I'll say it probably a couple of times, that all of this was done entirely with focus on health and safety first and foremost. That was played into everything that we talked about. As I say, last Friday, on the 8th, the governor announced that May 20th was phase 1. If all goes well, what I'm reading is that phase 2 would be able to be implemented as soon as June 20th. So we're moving in that direction. Again, we have to make sure that everything goes well. Given all of that I just told you, we assembled a team which included of all the town departments, health, police, public works, planning and zoning, myself from the chamber, the first selectman, and we also had some restaurant owners and retailers to sit down with us and weigh in on the process. There was even another update that came in even as recently as this past Tuesday night. So we're constantly keeping updated on all of that. The goal, again, besides making sure health and safety measures are always met, was to provide enough space for the downtown restaurants to be able to open their outdoor seating, the current outdoor seating that they had prior to COVID, that maintain the requirement now that tables must be 6 feet apart. It also, at the same time, consisted of making sure that retail and other downtown businesses were not harmed, but rather helped by allowing for some long time asked for initiatives that include things like we're going to allow free parking in all of the town lots. That's something that we've heard from retailers for a long time. Could we just have free parking? It's going to maintain the current parking time limits on Elm Street and others, but it will be free of charge. Accessibility is something that we're obviously very focused on as well. The other nice feature is that the parking department will allow us to have a couple of their employees to act as downtown ambassadors. There's going to be, as you can see when we get into the plan, there's going to be some changes to how Elm Street looks and works. So we're going to have some folks down there to help us through that during the week. The diagonal parking along the left-hand side of Elm Street remains intact. We are removing some of the parallel parking, and again, we'll get into the plan in a minute. Our health director, Jen Eilson, is also holding a 3 p.m. Zoom call today with all of the restaurants to make sure that they understand and they hear it all the same way, the same time, all of the health protocols. And we will also take them through this plan if we are approved today. Fred Baker from the Fire Marshal's office, as well as Lynn Brooks Avni from Planning and Zoning, will also be on that call and have also looked at this plan. The draft, which you're looking at right now, as it is still in draft form, was sent out on Wednesday to my entire downtown list, and the feedback was generally positive. We had some concerns, and I think many can be addressed in the plan, but generally people thought that it was a fair and modest plan. This plan is designed to stay in place until mid-October, unless it needs to be modified or we have some massive changes or something like that. But that is the plan as it stands for now. And the governor's orders have allowed for all permitting and things like that to be an expedited process. The restaurants will all need to fill out their annual sidewalk cafe permit plan. So once they know what their spaces are, they will then have to design that and again meet the criteria that's being asked for. We are still trying, and it's a very strange mindset for me to have to be in right now of, oh my gosh, how are we going to mitigate any crowd gathering, congregating kind of areas? You know, that's all I've been trying to do for the last 12 years is bring people to town, and now I'm trying to make sure that we mitigate it to some extent. We also realize that there's no way that we have enough tables to meet all the demand. And we hear a lot of people are already trying to make reservations, but we also know that there are going to be a lot of people who are not wanting to come out yet, who aren't going to feel comfortable, and we respect that and support that. It does call for some loss of parking spaces, as I talked about on the right-hand side or the north side of Elm Street, the parallel spaces. But we feel the offset to that is the fact that we are allowing for free parking in the lumberyard lot, in all of the parking lots. And we think that that is a fair and reasonable concession. Having said all that, I think maybe if Tiger or Maria, I'm not sure who wants to actually take us through the actual plan of what we're trying to do. Every area, every neighborhood had different pieces of it that we had to account for. And it's very nimble, the plan. So if we do have to make some adjustments, we can. We would appreciate your feedback. But I think Tiger or Maria can take us through the next step and let us know where we are.
Great. Thanks, Tucker.
Welcome.
Tiger?
All right.
How about that?
Thanks, Tucker. Thanks, Paul.
You're in.
So I'm it. So as we scroll through each location or each sort of block of the plan, John, you'll just kind of stay with us. So right now we're looking at Lower Elm Street. Main Street is to the right, Route 124. South Avenue is to the left. So we're just looking at the block. Includes Uncorked and Rose. Uncorked has some areas behind that they're an open patio and alleyway to the side of their building that they can utilize. So we did not give them any space on the street. And then we bumped out slightly in front of Rosie's, just taking away the parallel parking. It's approximately 2 to 3 parking spaces in that location. And then we plan to change the one space to the left next to the hash marks, the new hash marks, into an accessible space to allow one more accessible space in that location. We do have 2 to the far right at the intersection of Main, 2 on the parallel side at the intersection of Main and Elm, but we felt it prudent to add one more additional accessible space at that location. John, you want to go to the next one? Are you guys good with that, or do you have questions on that, or do you want to wait till the end?
I think we'll wait to the end. Let's roll through the maps and the plan,
Okay.
and then we'll open up for questions after that.
That's fine. So then the next is the block from South Avenue basically to the Playhouse. So you see you have Elm, Le Pen Couturier, Playhouse, and Soleil. So here we're looking at taking the parallel parking for the entire block. One, it allows us to use the accessible ramps at the intersection of South and Elm to allow people to enter the pedestrian way. We do have accessible openings in front of Elm on the property line between Elm and LPQ to allow pickup and people to enter into the restaurant as well. And then we have the crosswalk, again, the available crosswalk at the Playhouse, available for people to get into the pattern. So again, we're looking here at a number of parking spaces being lost, probably 5 between the Playhouse and South Avenue, and then an additional 2 to 3, 2 probably in front of Soleil.
Okay. Next.
Next one. This is just Upper Elm Street. There's no changes from basically Soleil to Park Street. Everything will remain the same. Now we're looking at Main Street in front of Spiga. So to the left, you have the Morse Court lot. To the top of the page would be leading towards Elm Street. Bottom of the page is leading towards Cherry Street. Here we're looking at bumping out just in front of Spiga to allow them to expand through the way. We will possibly move that barricade slightly to the south just to allow pedestrians to come off the driveway ramp to be able to enter the pedestrian way so they don't have to step off the curb.
Okay.
In this location, we've Maria's prepared a permit already for the state. We're just waiting for your approval, and then I'll sign it and we'll send it to the state for an expedited review. Since this is 124, it does has to go to the state as well.
Right. Okay.
You want to go to the next one?
Yep. Let's go to next.
All right. This is, I guess, Upper 4th Street.
Right.
East Avenue is to the bottom of the page, and you'll see we have Cava, the Farmer's Table, Tequila. Here we had originally thought of closing off the street. There was some concerns about closing off the street, both from an emergency standpoint and from some of the local merchants. So we decided that we would close off just the one side and allow a throughway. So basically we're going to be driving on the parallel parking lanes, across the parallel parking lanes, and we'll be taking away the travel lane. Again, accessibility is through the handicap ramp at the south end, and then through the northern end as well. You can enter out past the diner. We have an additional ramp out at the diner. So here we lose the parking spaces along that parallel, since it'll now be it'll be the travel way itself. I believe there was approximately 7 in that location, maybe 8.
Okay.
John. The next is Upper 4th Street. Upper 4th Street remains the same. So from where it bumps out to parking on either side, parallel parking on either side, there is no change. Therefore, the residents that live in the new condo complex here can just access their homes and their residences as they have normally done.
All right. Good.
All right.
Yep.
Then we have Cherry Street. This was provided to us by Cherry Street themselves. They're looking at taking away their entire parking lot for outdoor dining. There'll be some barricades placed at the driveway to prevent cars from coming in. And then they have a nice plan for layout for their tables, and then a walkway through for pedestrians, and then use of their bathrooms inside, or one of the bathrooms inside that's through an accessible entrance. So there's virtually no change here. We are looking at changing just one space at the right there, as you would have normally entered the driveway, to an accessible space, since they'll be losing an accessible space inside their parking lot.
So is that handicap now? Is that HC?
That's the proposed addition, right?
Okay.
That's a change from a currently a standard space to a disabled space.
Got it. Okay. All right, great. All right. Now we'd like to open it up for comments. Jennifer, if you could control that.
I have a question.
If we have questions. So if we could sort of take it.
Can we?
What I'd like to be able to do is that in order to have all have their say here, what we'd like to be able to do is to limit the comments to about 2 minutes or so. All right.
Susan has a question.
Uh,
Can you give us a picture of what these barriers are gonna look like?
Yeah, I can give you somewhat of what it looks like. Can I share the screen, Paul?
Yes, yes.
Okay, hold on a second.
Jennifer, can Tiger get the screen?
Sure, one sec.
So,
Try it now,
Well-
Tiger.
okay.
While he's pulling that up, I mean, we were really working hard to find something that was obviously crash worthy, but also aesthetically pleasing, if you will.
Right. So they're basically, they're a water-filled barrier. The ones that are shown here in the picture are orange, where there's a white option that we will be purchasing instead. If you'd like to see them in action at present, they're on the corner of Forest Street and Locust Avenue, where the new development at 42 Forest is underway. They have them wrapping the entire parcel there. So it's basically a small what would normally have been a precast concrete barrier curb, but these are water filled, made out of plastic, won't have the concrete look. They're brand new, no stenciling, no markings on them, and they'll be white instead of the orange. And then at that point in time, they're very portable, very movable, much easier to work with, and less fraught for damage than the precast concrete barrier curb.
So these are they're gonna be all over New Canaan, these orange things,
They're
white.
white.
There's nothing, you can't put nice picket fences or something. I mean, these are not
We're looking at putting in
aesthetically so pleasing, if you ask me.
well,
to
there
have
is
all over town.
as far as crash worthiness and pedestrian safety and protection, they're about as pretty as you're going to get. So we're also looking at adding some planters and some other things to soften the look of the barricades themselves. But it's an orange picture. The white ones are much more aesthetically pleasing.
Why you can't put
Okay.
planters up with vegetation in it?
Excuse me?
You can't do it with vegetation. You're gonna have to put these things up that look,
I
like
can't protect. I
construction
can't
thing?
protect. I can't protect the pedestrian way with that. Plus, it would be cost prohibitive to place planters throughout. The 4 planters that we have that normally bracket the pop-up park, or that have bracketed the pop-up park, are quite expensive, and are only 4 feet long. Each of these barricades are 6 feet long, so it would have been cost prohibitive to put planters throughout. Not to mention the fact that these barricades are approximately 2 to 3 feet wide. The planters themselves are 4 to 6 feet wide. We would lose an entire travel way to try to put planters throughout, that size planters throughout.
so you're gonna have the whole
All right.
town
No,
lined with
I'm
these
sorry.
white.
No, Susan. All right, we're going to have to move on. I'm
Okay.
going to have to move to some others. All right. Who's next? Sorry. Again, Susan, these are temporary. None of this is permanent. None of us want this as a permanent structure either. Jennifer, next.
Is there another question?
Is there anyone with questions? Nancy? Okay, we have Nancy.
Yeah, I'm the
Okay.
owner of Earth Garden, which is right next to the Playhouse. And I understand the barricade will be from Elm to Soleil, and I'm kind of right in the middle of everything. So will people not have any access to my shop?
The crosswalk there, Tiger, you want to,
Yeah.
We're on it, right? Did I
which
get
is
it?
right in front of your store.
Right.
There's a crosswalk right here, and there'll be an opening in the barricade, and then supposedly an opening through here to come straight to your store
Okay.
as normal.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to leave all of the crosswalks in, just made sense.
Okay.
Right. And they'll still have access straight down through the
Right.
alleyway as normal. There's no difference in that work.
Right.
So the traffic flow for you is pretty similar to what you have existing, apart
Okay.
from the barricades
Right.
here. The traffic flow is the same.
And I think they can't park right in front of you any longer anyway, can they?
There's
No, we have one of the yellow striped things
Yellow.
there.
Right.
It's
Okay.
it's hatched to here and to approximately here already. So
Got it. Okay. Anyone else?
May I ask a question, please?
Yes. Hi, Prasad.
Hi, this is Chef Prasad. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you all. We are right across the town hall. So we have a small patio. I've not seen any sidewalk plan for where we are, where the Chinks table or we are there. Is there any plan there, or we just use our patio for now?
No, I can answer that if everyone's okay with that. Chef Prasad, there are others like you, like Uncorked, folks that had patios. So we were hoping that you all are going to be able to take advantage of your patio space. We will work with you to try to get the placement going. But we feel you are one of the fortunate ones that already has a nice outdoor space. So we did not. And with the firehouse there, and there's a lot of activity there with your takeout. We know takeout on that corner has been very active lately, and we really didn't want to inhibit any more traffic issues up there. So we thought that your patio space was going to be adequate for you.
Great, greatly appreciate that. So I plan on putting a temporary tent. Would that be okay? Do I need any special permits, drawings?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. So every restaurant will be responsible once this plan gets approved. Every outdoor, just as you've done every other year, you will file a sidewalk permit through the planning and zoning process. They will, you'll draw out where your tables are going to be. They have expressed their complete cooperation in any way that they can. So that's my next step, is once this gets approved, to make sure that you're all aware that that permit application is available and ready to go, and then they will sign off on it. And part of that sign off process is that all the town departments sign off on it, so we know everybody's got extra eyes on it as well. But that would be the process, and I don't think there would be any, I can't speak for planning and zoning, but I've heard them say in other areas that they would like to be able to offer some outdoor coverings for people to be able to keep outside weather tight.
Yeah, what I believe is for our patio, since it's a permanent patio, we don't go for an annual permit because it's already in the health department, everything else.
Yeah.
I've been actually discussing with like Stanford Tent and Durant's couple of people come and measure up and give me a temporary, like just a white tent, a little bit of mesh around it, so make it look pretty.
Yeah. So that tent would have to, that permit for a tent would have to be approved. And you're right, you already have an existing patio. However, because the state has now asked for everybody to have this self-certification, which I just went on and I'm not quite sure. I just tried to do it. It's more data collection. They just want to know who owns what restaurant and all sorts of things. It doesn't really ask for, I thought it was more, ensuring that you're taking all the necessary steps. But you would have to do that for a tent, Chef Prasad, back to planning and zoning and work with Lynn Brooks Avni on that.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush to open on the 20th anyway, so I might take an extra week or two. I'm talking about June, so I'll get some drawings done for that. And thank you.
That'd be
You're
great.
smart.
Thank you.
You're smart not to rush into it.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Commissioners. James, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have one question, Tucker. You mentioned that these plans would be in place until October. What drives that date?
It was just our best guess. I mean, it's going to be a lot of work to put it up. And if the governor reopens everything and we're back in action, we'll take it all down. But we're anticipating at the minimum that there's going to be, restrictions in place up until October. That was just our best guess. We didn't want to say it's only till July and then have to come back and ask for October. We would rather, get this plan in place and ratchet it back if all goes well and we can. We would like nothing more than have everything get back to normal as it is. But as you all know, what we're up against. So that was the rationale. And if anybody else on the team thinks it was anything different, speak up.
Okay.
So I would just add to that I think the plan is very good, a modest plan. It's a plan that can be expanded if things, go well in terms of the virus and the state mandates and so forth. It's a plan that we can always come back and expand.
Right. Hey, Tiger, could you take your screen down so we can see each other? Thanks.
And
That's
also,
better. Thanks.
Jim, to Susan's point, that's why we looked at all sorts of different types of barriers, and we talked about building things that were a little more permanent that could hold trees and foliage all the way up. I mean, obviously there's an expense to all of this, but the thing that we liked about these were that they obviously, again, back to crash worthiness and protection, but also that they could be moved around if need to be moved around, because you fill them with water and then they're easy to, and not for nothing, we can use them for other things all year long if the town owns them.
For later on. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Shikaiba?
Yes, Paul.
Hi. On Forest Street, we had one side where all the restaurants, Tequila Mockingbird and the diner. What happens to the other side, like Hasi Sushi? Don't they want to have an outdoor dining?
Just like Chef Prasad, they have a back entrance and a back parking lot. And so we're talking with the landlord there to allow them to set up possibly in the back, because they do have that. So we know there are going to be some one-off situations that we're going to have to deal with as we move forward. But that was our thinking with them.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other thoughts? All right, I think that, one, I want to thank all the volunteers, Tucker and your whole crew, for putting this together, town and locals. A lot of time and effort went into this. And we've got to realize this is not a permanent fix here. This is temporary. We got to get through this mess that we're in. And this is a good first attempt to do that. It's adjustable and can be and will be flexible. I think what we would like to do from the police commission is to have this renewable every 30 days so that if there needs to be adjustments, we can meet on it, make the adjustments and continue to move forward, if that makes sense.
What would the process be for that, Paul? You would just revisit it every 30 days?
I
or
think
have-
we would just, I think we would just have it in front of us every 30 days and just renew it. And then if there's any comments, we would have certainly in our public session. If anybody has any comments, we'd like to hear from them. So if we need to make adjustments, I'm sure they're going to be talking with you and Tiger and others, but come to us with those concerns or any tweaks that we need to do or you need to do, and that we'll be very flexible about addressing them. If that's good.
Hey, Paul, could you delegate that to Leon or John?
We'll take care of it.
I can delegate it to John. He's sitting across from me here.
So it would be a regular.
we'll make sure.
It would be a regular item on
So
our.
with that,
Actually, adjustments could be required within the month. I just think, the spirit of the governor's order is to have an administrative officer, just like Lynn is doing it for P&Z, to have the authority to make adjustments. And I think having to wait for a monthly police commission meeting is not consistent with that notion of having a.
We could always do a special meeting.
Yeah, I understand. I hear you, Kevin. And I think that we can have a special meeting. We can have a special meeting in 24 hours and do this. So yeah, we'll be flexible for sure. Any other comments? All right, hearing none. Can I have a motion to accept the plan as presented?
I move it be
Shikaiba.
put to a vote to accept.
Okay, Shikaiba, second?
Approve, yes.
Yes. Yes, second, good. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, we pass this motion to implement the downtown plan as presented.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
A motion to adjourn the special meeting?
Second.
I think Tiger might have had a question.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Okay.
All those opposed? None? Was there? All right, we're good.
All right. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.